Welcome to
Week
8. Oh.
the Vineland Poker
League. It's week 8. I'm in 15th out of 37 people. My league is over if I don't do well today, and I'm very alive if I do well. All the pressure's on. Let's take you to the action. Seating assignments, we're with Rob, Bruce, Dave, Ron, Jason, Tony, Dave. We're sitting next to Caitlin. Here we are in week 8, starting with 30,000 chips. There's 1.1 million in play. We just need to outlast the other 36 players. Let's get it. In the first hand of week 8, with blinds at 100, 200, I pick up red 9s in the hijack. It folds to me. I limp. Rob in the cutoff limps. Bruce comes in on the button. The small blind folds because they haven't shown up yet, and Ron checks his option in the big blind. We go 4 ways to a flop of ace, 8, deuce, all diamonds. We all check around and see the 4 of hearts on the turn. Ron checks, I check, and Rob bets 500 in the cutoff. Bruce calls, Ron folds, I call, and we are 3 ways to the river. When the river comes the 8 of clubs, I check and Rob checks. Bruce bets 1100, showing aggression for the first time in this hand. Can he really have an ace limping in, checking the flop and smooth calling the turn? I call, and Rob folds. We go to showdown, and Bruce shows us how he got lucky. He rivered 3 8s. Nice hand. With blinds at 150, 300, I'm under the gun +1 and make it 725 to go with Queen King off. No, Mark Davies, not Jack King off, Queen King off.
Next hand, we peel jacking off on the button.
Bruce in middle position calls, and Tony and Strang come in at a discount in the blinds. We go 4 ways to a flop of Queen 8, 7, all diamonds, and when the first 2 players check to me, I see bet 1050. Bruce and Tony fold, and Strang calls. Strang is subbing this week for Dave L, by the way. We go heads up to the 2 of hearts turn. Strang checks, and we put the pressure on with a 1900 chip bet. He quickly calls, and the 8 of spades hits the river. He checks, and I check back because I have PTSD from Bruce's trip 8s last hand. Also, Strang is a solid and sneaky player. He's perfectly capable of having an 8 here, especially in the big blind. I've played with him before, just not in this league. I show my hand down, and he mucks. In the next orbit, with blinds at 200, 400, I'm under the gun with aces. Being this early in the tournament, coupled with being first to act, I elect to limp. Nothing fishy about that, right? I'm just a donkey limping under the gun. I could have anything. Bruce in the middle position raises to 1600, and it folds around to Strang, who quickly calls. What to do? Bruce plays against me like Squeaky does. So if I raise here, I'm probably getting called. And Strang is solid and sneaky, but is also pretty aggressive. I decide to raise to 7150. And to my surprise, both players call. This pot is massive. The flop comes Jack 7-4 with 2 spades. Strang checks, and I shove every one of my remaining chips, 29,625. Bruce snap calls, and Strang folds. Okay, so I'm up against a set of flush draw, kings or queens. He turns over ace 10 of spades for the nut flush draw. Please, 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 please hold. The turn comes out the 3 of hearts, and the river comes a spade. And that's how we bust week 8. Just the best hand getting beat. That's how it happens. So, our league's over. You guys think you were getting rid of me that easily? Think again. Justice is served. The best hand wins. Ding dong. Drive home safely, Bruce. First break at the wonderful D. Tomasi's 5-point in. We have 66,225 chips coming back to 500 big blind. We're chip leader. Come get a drink and some authentic Italian food. How you doing?
Less than 20? Around 20?
Hey, you still have chips, you're alive. We found that out last week. Don't lose these chips, don't lose these chips, don't lose these chips, don't lose these chips, don't lose these chips. The only question is, can we keep this run good going? With blinds at 250, 500, we pick up multicolored 8s on the button and make it 2100 when it's folded to me. Rob in the small blind calls, and Kevin folds his big blind. We're heads up to a beautiful 2-5-4 rainbow flop, and Rob checks. I see bet 2,200, and he beats me into the pot with calling chips. The turn comes the 9 of clubs, and he checks again. I check back because that snap call scared me, and the turn did bring an overcard to my 8s. The river comes the ace of clubs, bringing in many draws, especially ones that could complete small blind holdings. So when he checks for a third time, I show down my 8s, and he shows us ace-jack? Ew. I slap down my cards and try to shake it off. I didn't get to record this whole hand, but it is a significant one. I have ace-8 of spades under the gun versus Strang in the big blind. We pick up action on the 8-2-4-8-5 board, and he leads out 6,000 on the river. 100% losing this hand. I make a crying call, and I lose a big pot. Strang turned over pocket deuces. I told you he was sneaky. I told him to give the camera a thumbs up and look happy for taking my chips.
What's the matter, you? 75?
46.
If I have enough to rub together, I'm gonna be lucky.
44,200.
30,250.
45.
75. 46. 20K.
22,575.
40-ish.
60.
5 down a ding dong.
47.7. 19,800.
22.
14.5.
3,000.
Starting stack.
37.3. Terrible. 10 grand.
37.5.
45. I got 36.
51.4.
50,500.
Touching 50.
42.5. 24.5.
Caitlin and I split a chicken marsala over pasta on dinner break, so my tummy's nice and full. So let's get back into the action. I pick up 4-3 of spades under the gun, and hey, this suited connector is too beautiful to lay down, so I limp. Ron in the hijack bumps it up to 3,500 when it's folded to him, and when it folds around to me, I get a little stubborn and don't let him get off that easy. We go heads up to a flop of 5-5 king with 2 clubs, and I check, knowing he has a king a good amount of the time here. Or at least a hand that's better than mine, so I shouldn't even consider bluffing. He quickly c-bets 7,500, and I let it go. Good hand. An orbit later, I'm in the same position and pick up multicolored 8s under the gun. Again, it's too pretty to fold, but I also don't want to raise and run into a monster. So I limp. It folds around to Tony, who calls on the button. Strang comes in as well, and Caitlin shoves it in for 18,400 total. Well, damn. I don't know what to do here. I want Caitlin's chips just as much as I want everyone else's. It does worry me that Tony called behind me. Strang too.
TJ, I'm gonna win this hand. You better fold.
Caitlin, this is my vlog. Get out of here. I decide to let it go, and Tony and Strang do too. Nice hand, sweetheart.
I stopped thinking of
Show for the camera.
down, dude.
Oh, no. The next hand, when I'm in the big blind, it folds around to Strang on the button. Caitlin shoves. I fold, and she finds herself in bad shape against Strang's aces. Good game, Caitlin. See you next week. That's how poker goes. I'm so happy the first break, and then I'm just not happy now. I'm not even going to sit in the chair. We're breaking down from 4 tables to 3. There's 27 out of 37 people left. I have 25,400 chips, but at least we just went through the blinds. So we're at 600, 1,200, 1,200, which is historically a little quicker than usual to break down to 3 tables. Usually we break down at 800, 1,600. I'm not going to get blinded out. I'm going to be a little aggressive and try to double. So let's double. How you doing?
He's going great. He's playing with somebody else. He shouldn't try to win.
Wise words by KP. Bust your stack, bro.
I'm trying.
In this hand, blinds are 800, 1,600 with a 1,600 big blind ante. The player before me limps, and I do too. Rob comes in also. Dave comes in on the button. Medio completes in the small blind. Jason checks his option, and we go 6 ways to a flop of the 3 of hearts, the jack of clubs, and the jack of hearts. Oh, trips, bro. Sweet. Let's go, bro. Right on the flop. All 6 of us check, and I see a 5 of diamonds on the turn. Medio checks. Jason leads for a min bet in the big blind. When it folds to me, I call the 1,600. We're still multi-way. I feel like under-repping my hand here wouldn't hurt. Dave calls on the button, Medio folds, and we're 3 ways to the river. The river comes the 2 of clubs, and Jason checks. Dave shows down his hand out of turn. Come on, Dave, pay attention. I bet 7,000, figuring I can get some value from Jason, hopefully. Dave mucks, and Jason eventually calls. I show my hand down, and he tells me I'm golden. Let's go, we needed that pot. Dingity-dong.
Anything, Tej?
Oh, yeah. I have 62,700 chips. Could I have a few more?
50K from me.
Can I have some of them? No. How many you got, Matt?
15 live.
Gotta go in there.
57.
Boys are still in. Win the next,
Ding dong.
there's only, 5 weeks left? You win, the next 10 weeks in a row, you win.
What?
Let me see that hype up again. Here's the list of the fallen. Right now we're guaranteed 40 points because we had that one knockout from Bruce. Blinds are now 1K, 2K, 2K, and it folds to me in middle position. I bump it up to 5,500 and Rob snap 3 bets to 20,000. It quickly folds back around to me and, well, I just raised to 2.75 big blinds off my 29 big blind stack, roughly 10% of my total chips. Do I want to call another 7 big blinds? Maybe in a regular tournament, but not in this one. I have a good amount of chips to float by for a few more levels and rack up some more points while short stacks bust. I let Rob have it, and he shows ace-king. That's fine. No need to flip right now. Nice hand. In the very next hand, I make it 6,100 with pocket 10s. Rob, snap 3 bets to 20,000 again. It quickly folds around to me. Everyone is laughing, having a good old time, watching me be stressed and losing chips. I mean, just look at Medio.
That's entertainment.
I don't know. People must hate me. I let it go again, and Rob shows us ace-king again. Good hand. In this hand, I'm on the button with what Andrew Neem would refer to as
the best hand ever created, pocket aces.
It folds to me, and I make it 7,700. Rob in the small blind folds, and Tony in the big blind doesn't want to let it go, but he does. We win this one and end up chipping up to about 80K before our table breaks, being pretty aggressive. Being aggressive at this point of the tournament in this league pays off usually. No one wants to bust. Table's breaking. We have 81,000, still at 2,000, 4,000 blinds. Let's go. 18 people left.
I think it's cool.
Yeah, it's mine. You. With blinds at 2,000, 4,000 with a 4,000 big blind ante, I pick up ace-queen off, and when it folds to me, I say goodbye to every one of my 81,000 children. The potential new parents to all my children look on with desire. But hey, they're my children, so they come back to daddy and even bring 10,000 new friends with them. I now have 91,000 children. Is this weird? I don't think so. With blinds at 2,500, 5K with a 5K big blind ante, I shove 77,500 chips into the middle with 8-7 of clubs in the hijack. Somewhat loose, but if it folds around, I pick up 12,500 chips. If someone calls and wins, I'm out or crippled, but if someone calls and I get lucky, I have a massive stack only minutes before heading to the final table. I'll take my chances. It folds to Josh on the button, who tanks for a while. He eventually folds, and the blinds do too. Josh shows ace-king offsuit. Props to him for the huge fold. As you can see, no one wants to bust in this tournament. We're chipping up. In this hand, with blinds at 3,500, 7K with the 7K big blind ante, I shove jack-king off under the gun. Josh's patience folding ace-king to one of my previous shoves pays off, and he calls with pocket queens. The board runs out, not in our favor. The 3 of diamonds, the 6 of spades, the 2 of diamonds, the 3 of spades, and the 10 of clubs. He wins a massive pot, celebrates,
Fucking chicken porn dinner!
and I'm crippled to 33,500 chips, which would be fine, but I owe 7K for the big blind plus 7K for the ante in the next hand. Great. I end up folding my big blind the next hand, but someone busts at the other table. So we're down to 11 players, heading to the final table, and I have 19,500 chips. 3 big blinds. Let's go. Well, we lost a massive one with King Jack against Queens, but everyone's short, so you shove a hand, you pick up 15 grand, or even more than that. You pick up 17.5 grand now. I think I had to shove there. Try to pick it up. It's just unfortunate Josh picked up Queens. Headed to the final table. Not many chips. Let's see what we could do. 3 big blinds. Welcome to our third final table in 8 weeks. Strang is chip leader with 245K. The average stack is about 100K. Zach is the median stack at 71,500, which is only 10 big blinds. And I'm the shorty with 3 big blinds. We redraw for seats, and unfortunately, I draw seat 3, which is the big blind in the first hand. I have 6-5 offsuit. It folds around to Tom on the button, who raises to 25,000. Tony in the small blind folds, and I let it go as well. Tom is surprised I just folded and let him have 70% of my chips. Tom, I know you think you have me figured out, but you don't.
What? Oh, 3 more points, you said. Yeah, I saw that in the vlog. I knew that. That's why I did that.
I end up folding the small blind the next hand too, and I'm left with 2,000 chips on the button when the blinds are going to 4,000, 8,000. I have 1/4 of 1 big blind. Maybe one of these players will bust before the blinds get back to me, and I'll get more points. Thanks for the idea, Tom. Well, the blinds have went all the way around the table, and now I'm under the gun. I pretty much have to shove here, because if I do, I'm eligible to receive the full big blind ante. And guess what? Tom busted, so I did earn another coveted 3 points. I shoved my last 2,000 chips without looking at my cards. It folds around to Bobby, who limps. Strang completes in the small blind, and Tony checks his option. The flop comes 4, 8, 7, rainbow, and of course, they all check. They all check the turn and the river too. They all turn their cards over, and no one really appears to have anything. Tony does have a pair of 4s. I only need a 5 for a straight, so we peel them real slow, and ding dong, we've got a straight. Sick. In the next hand, the 16,000 chips I won the last hand go into the middle perfectly for the 8,000 big blind and the 8,000 big blind ante. Zach limps the 8K in late position. Strang makes it 50K on the button, and everyone else gets out of our way. He shows down a couple of cowboys, and I'm throwing my Hail Mary in with 10-6 suited. The board runs out in his favor, and I'm eliminated in 10th place in week 8. Side note, Strang is super happy because Tony put a bounty on me a few hours ago, a chicken parm dinner. And last level, when I had a big stack, Tony was getting impatient and upped the ante to a veal parm dinner. Strang was drooling for an hour, so if anyone knocked me out, I'm glad it was him. Good game, guys.
So many mixed emotions tonight. I'm just having the time of my life.